Welcome back to the Zero Camper Podcast. I am Mike. That is Brendan. And I have a question for you.
What is your question, sir?
If you could only have one car based on what you could buy new in the market right now, and it's not a ZN6, what's your answer?
Am I locked to a budget?
No.
No budget. I can only own one car,
Yep.
and it has to be a vehicle I purchased new, right? Like it has to be
Vehicle you purchased new on sale in 2025.
in 2025.
Yes.
New on
And we
sale.
will assume it never dies, right? It never dies. It goes for 1,000,000 miles. It does not mean the typical maintenance that that vehicle would require.
Okay, so I still have vehicle maintenance, but
Yes.
it's the only one I can have, right?
It's the only one you can have.
Honestly, probably kind of a lame pick, but I do enjoy the practicality aspect. I'm gonna have to say a Raptor R.
You would spend so much money on gas.
I would, but it's quite possibly the do everything vehicle.
It is. I will agree with that. See, in my mind, I was split between like two things, right?
I was also
I'm
split
either-
between two things.
I'm either going between RS6 Avant because that's the more that's the more like, I don't know, sporty, like do everything
Yeah.
car. And then the other side of me was like, do I pick something that's just super practical? In which case, Navigator Black Label.
Okay, that is solid answer. And I like how I picked a Raptor R thinking I was like being practical. But my other option is the complete opposite end of that spectrum, not practical whatsoever. It would have to be an Amira.
Oh my god!
So like literally just probably two of the like widest variety there. But yeah, I would either suffer through life with just an Amira, or I
Yes.
would have a Raptor R and then just have to settle on being just a little bit slower than everything, in a full-size pickup.
Yeah. What is like? How much does a Raptor R about cost? I have no idea.
So
I've not
I
kept
think-
up with.
I think they run like if you could get one at sticker, I think you're looking like 110.
Dang. Okay, that is more than I thought.
It's
Um,
okay. So and I agree, like it is kind of a lot, but when you consider the fact that you're basically getting a GT500 drivetrain inside of an F-150,
That's a good
it
point.
kind of like if you stick a GT500 driveline inside of a Raptor, and like you're getting a Raptor R, like a Raptor's already a $75,000-$80,000 truck.
That's true.
So
That's true.
like you are getting that 30 grand's kind of going a long way.
That is going quite a long way. I like it because it's powerful, it's fun, but it does have the practicality of a truck.
Yeah, of course. Which is why I was
Like
like, all
RS6.
right, if I need to do something, like
Yeah.
you could definitely own a Raptor R, and aside from probably abysmal insurance rates and obviously the fuel that you would consume to have that, you could pretty much tackle just about anything. Like you could tow nearly probably. I actually don't know what those tow.
I mean,
but I would imagine it's
Probably like
8,000.
7,000 to 8,000 would be my
Yeah.
guess.
So if you could tow 8,000
Um,
pounds, you could tow most things. Like you could own a boat, jet ski, whatever other little shit.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Like anything
move-
outside of like
You could still move a family, right? Like you
A
could still
fifth
move
wheel.
5 people in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it hauls ass. So
Yeah.
I mean,
See, that's where I was thinking like the Navigator, right?
Yes.
Like my other vehicle, that choice.
and that
'cause
is very nice. I think
That's
we talked
got
about
a-
this before, but
I think so. Maybe not on here, but definitely before. Like that is 7-seater, so that's easily wife, kids, dogs. It's got a good tow capacity because it's still like a 702 platform, right? So it's still the truck platform. It's got that big honking twin turbo V6 that Ford is like really like is a really good motor.
yeah, they've really
So
settled
it's
in on it,
like-
for sure.
I think I'm kind of thinking about it and I'm realizing like that is basically choosing the luxury focused thought of the Raptor R. Like the same mindset you went on with the Raptor R. It's like, okay, what if we just took some of that and traded it for luxury, which is 100% where I'm at usually, considering I bought a Q7.
And that is very reflective of our personalities, though, because I am 100% A-okay with dailying like a caged race car, and you would probably just be like, I'll actually die instead of do that. So
yeah, no, 100%. The Mini is as far as I go for something that I daily.
Yeah, and see, like,
that is pretty aggressive for me.
Yeah, and that is like still like that's like teetering the edge of like where I would start.
Yeah.
Like,
so speaking of stuff people would daily, we prior recorded an episode about Slate, right?
Did.
Slate truck,
That
and
was
then
last
it
episode.
didn't work. Well, no, last episode we talked about it wasn't Slate. It was something else. I already forgot. It's only been like 5 days, but oh yeah, we talked about how car modifications have changed, right? Like how the culture has changed. We tried to record an episode on Slate, and we had some technical difficulties. Didn't work. I swear to God, if this one doesn't work, like if the technical difficulties occur again, I am gonna explode. But
we're off to a shaky start, but
we are. We sat there for 20 minutes dealing with technical difficulties. But we tried to talk about Slate, and one of the things we tried to talk about with Slate was, you know, we think, you and I know we both share this, we think that it's actually a pretty good deal. And that people that are out there talking about how it's a crappy deal, it's not worth it, it's way too expensive, that we think they're wrong.
Yeah.
And that we think that people who say it's not going to sell are wrong. And I want to make one point before we get into this, because I wanted to play a game that we prepared for to maybe prove our point about Slate. But the kind of first thing was, I don't think, even if Slate isn't successful, it does not mean that the impact that it has or is going to have on the auto industry isn't going to be significant. Because in the time period since they've announced, you've had lots of automakers, particularly Toyota, talking about bringing an affordable truck to the U.S. Obviously, the buzz that it's creating is reaching the automakers, and it's having an effect. So for all you people who say nobody wants a small no.
Yeah, obviously.
People obviously want it.
Yes.
Yeah. The question, of course, is this particular version going to do super well? I don't know. I think it will.
Yeah, and I would think...
But I don't think it's bad deal.
No, and I think, to be honest, I do think Gen 1 Slate probably not going to be the overall best of this, right? And nothing first implementation is really ever that good.
No.
But I think what Slate is doing business model wise, kind of being like the DLC car. I think there's like the statement we made last episode.
We did, and man, I was so mad that wasn't gonna to make it out there, because it's such a good descriptor.
And well, here it is now. We could use it now. But yeah, no, I think it's very interesting what Slate is kind of gonna bring to the table and allow, as far as like just kind of being that moddable toy, in a sense that like people can kind of get their hands on. People like tinkering, people like messing with stuff, and they like changing stuff. And I think like a lot of people do enjoy like and do want like the modular aspect, because that is a key aspect of keeping things cheap, or keeping things affordable. I think affordable is a better term for the Slate, because I don't necessarily think it's going to be a cheap product. I think it's going to be an affordable product, and you could see.
Yeah, that is a great distinction. Affordable and cheap. It's not cheap.
Yes.
Right. $27,000, because right, the EV tax credit's gone. It's done. Yep. You know,
we just heard the news on that.
It's not a $20,000 truck anymore. It's a $27,000 truck. But
which honestly, I will say, I do think that will probably cause some people to reconsider.
Absolutely, because that now, $20K, like, oh man, that's, you know,
right. And so now that you're paying $27,000, well, now you are paying for the cost of a Maverick. You know, if you could get a base Maverick.
If you could get a base Maverick, for sure.
Something like that. And so, like, now you are kind of at a point where you're like, do I spend a few more grand? And because let's be real, if you're comparing even a base Maverick to a Slate, you know, of course, and probably
the Maverick is a better deal.
The
base Maverick has more features.
Right. So now that the EV tax credit isn't there to, soak up a lot of that loss that you would get. Yeah. From the Maverick, I think like that is going to be a kind of a Like I need the. It's gonna be to push some of the people who might have been like really on the fence who were like, I need this to be as cheap as possible.
Yes.
But I think a good amount of people will still have a good. I think it's still gonna have a good amount of interest, and I'd like to see
Well,
what the sales look like.
yeah, I agree. I think kind of 2 points on that. One, Rivian is still considered a fairly successful EV company, and yeah, their trucks are really expensive.
This is true.
But they're like only sell, I think it's like 12 to it's like in the tens, right, of thousands of vehicles a year. That's it. That's not a lot of cars when you consider that like an Escape sells $300,000 to $400,000 or 300,000 to 400,000 units, right? Like that's, or it did. Sorry, back when I was used to looking at them.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the GCBC numbers recently, but right, that's generally what it is. So it's not like a company we would generally consider fairly successful in the EV space is selling a crap load of volume either. I think Slate will do better than that. The second thing is, one of the things, this is the model for Slate that I've just been mulling over in my head that makes so much sense is, if I want a Maverick, right, and I want a base Maverick, and then the base Maverick, like for example, base Mavericks don't come with cruise control.
Yeah.
So if I want cruise control, I got to go up a package or up a trim. I haven't priced it right, but I got to go up.
Yeah.
And likely
Now you're stepping to an XLT,
cruise control.
You're moving up probably a couple grand.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that cruise control is also going to come with heated seats and this and that, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to come with these features. And now it's not a $27,000 truck. Now it's a $33,000 truck because I have to go up a trim to get one feature.
Right.
That's what Slate isn't doing, right? Because, I want like the radio option, right? That's the one people talk about, or the power windows. Because a whole bunch of people, man, that was a whole fight that I got into on Twitter was about power freaking windows.
Oh, yeah, I seen that because there was the crank window ad.
Yeah, they have
put
the
out,
crank
and,
windows.
Like, obviously, Slate was just trying to be silly with a little, it was like, what, not even a 20-second ad, And, I can't believe that that riled up as many people as it did. That was honestly hilarious.
And I think I called them pussies, but for not. But, like, because it's inflammatory in the same way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's that's the thing is, okay, what if I just want power windows and I don't want the heated seats?
Well, and let's be real.
If you buy from a traditional OEM, you have to get it all.
Right. Well, and
from Slate, you don't.
Also, let's look at the fact, too, that, like, that whole, like, you have to up a whole trim has been something that is, like, relatively new. Like, that's new of, like, the last 15 years or so. Mostly. 15.
VW basically pioneered that.
So, like, I mean, back in the 90s, you used to be able to just option. Like, if you just wanted cruise control, that was just an option you added. Like, you just checked the boxes you wanted. Versus, now it's like, oh, yeah, you want this, you have to buy the technology package and add $6,000 to the cost of your vehicle. Like,
and that's how they make money, right? Because I've worked at OEMs. I've seen how they balance things. Your base models don't make money. Oftentimes they lose if, like, they lose or make zero. So, no, Ford isn't offering a great deal in the Maverick and making a ton of money. They're just trying to get you in the door so they can upsell you, which is the same thing Slate's going to do. But this way, you can spend $300 here, $1,000 there, $1,000 there, $2,000 there, right? As you own the car to upgrade to get the things you want instead of having to finance it on the upfront.
Right.
So that you can get this stuff, because if you don't do it now, you're never going to get it.
Exactly.
And that's not how Slate operates.
Well, and I think a lot of people,
go ahead.
A lot of people get upset about, like, I guess kind of in a way, like right now we're talking about, like Ford wants you to be in an XLT to get that cruise control, to get that heated seat feature and stuff like that.
Yep.
And like, that is an upsell. That is what it is. But people don't look at it that way, because when they think of an upsell, they think when they walk into, the fast food restaurant and they ask if you want to, get a large fry instead of a medium for your combo. And
you want to supersize
Yeah,
it?
exactly. So, like, to them, oh yeah, the supersize at Wendy's is fine because that's only adding $1 to your thing. But when when the supersize me is adding $3,000 to your $40,000 purchase, obviously people get a lot more nervous, because that's, it's the big dollar amounts that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's understandable, but at the same time, like, that's really what it is. It's just an upsell in that same function. And like you said, Slate not doing that to you is something I kind of hope shifts the market back towards the way that it was, because I would love to go and just option out a truck the exact way I want it, or option out a car the exact way that I want it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times, like, I don't want leather, I don't want all this other stuff. Like, I'd rather be able to get, that shorter gear in the rear end than, not have to buy your premium package truck with all the extra features. Like, just let me just buy the 410 gear truck instead of the
Yeah.
373 without going to, the upper trim, or, buying a Tremor package or whatever it might be, right? So
Or even in the inverse, right? Like I would love, if you want leather in an F-150 now, you can't get that in a Lariat, right? You got to go. They took it off Lariat. Now Lariat's like leatherette with hybrid cloth.
yeah, now you got to go
and
to
they're going
like
up a
King
trim.
Ranch, or yes,
Yeah. King Ranch to get leather seats in a truck. A freaking Lariat's a $65,000 truck
Yeah.
now. So they do it in the other direction too, and that's something Ford used to do with Sync and Sync 3, right? Remember Sync and Sync 3?
Yep.
Sync 3, Sync was on all the base models, and you had to go up trim
Yep.
to get it. And I remember looking at the vehicles. I did this a long time ago. I was comparing a Focus
they still do
and
that.
a Golf.
Sync 3 is still the standard, and now if
Yeah.
you want Sync 4,
Sync 4.
you have to.
But there's a much smaller difference between like Sync 3 and Sync 4 when you consider
Yeah.
like this one's got CarPlay.
Yeah.
Like it used to be like
It used
you
to be-
have
Yeah, you're
nothing.
you have an
now
aux
you
port and AM/FM
Yeah.
radio versus like you actually
Yes.
having Bluetooth connection. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember like pricing it out a while ago, like a long time ago, when I was comparing like a Mark 7 Golf base Golf rate and a Focus. It would cost me almost like, just if I wanted everything the Golf had, right, I would have to option in so many additional choices, so many additional options into the Focus just to get the Sync 3, that it was like $5,000 or $6,000 more to get the Focus. And so it was like, oh, hey, this Golf is going to be like, obviously I'm dating myself, this Golf is only going to be like $22,000.
Yeah.
And the Focus is going to be like 27, just because I had to add a bunch of stuff. And that's how they do it, right? Because they go, well, people really, really want this, so we're going to lock it behind these other choices.
Yeah, of course.
And then we're selling you on all that because we know you're not walking out of here with the base radio.
Yeah, exactly. Because most people won't. Most people are like, oh, no, I gotta have Bluetooth at least. Like.
Yeah. So that leads me to the game that I want to use to prove ourselves correct, because we know this game is going to prove us right that $27,000 for the Slate is actually an okay deal.
Yeah.
So the game is guess the MSRP.
Okay.
You and I have both chosen some vehicles.
We have.
Specific configurations, and found out what the MSRP was. I gathered the MSRP and destination costs because I want to know what total is. So I'll go first,
Okay.
because I think this is a good comparison to start. How much do you think a Silverado 1500 LT 4x4 with leather seats, max tow, and, because I think it's important for this kind of truck, box steps, or not box steps, sidebar steps. How much do you think that would MSRP for?
1500 LT, 4x4 with leather, max tow, and side steps. With the 4-cylinder or the 5.3?
Max tow, so it
it's
comes with
5.3.
5.3,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm probably going to say that's probably like 48.8.
61.1.
Oh my gosh, really? For an LT?
So then, for an LT
I would have
with
thought
max tow and leather.
To like a high country or something.
No.
Oh my, 60.
61,135 with destination. Sorry, I should include, because that's 2,200 in destination, and you know the dealers aren't
2200 on
waiving destination.
for that? That's
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of money to drive that thing from Indiana over to Ohio, apparently.
yeah, no kidding. That's a crazy destination charge. I feel like normally that's like $9.95, but
yeah, a lot of times they're lower. So I took it one step further, and I wanted to see, were there any in my area?
Mm-hmm.
So in my area, there was one vehicle, but it was missing one feature, max tow. How much do you think that one was going for without incentives? Because we can't count on incentives, right?
Without incentives.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna say 57, even though it's not max tow.
$61,200. It was more
Oh
expensive
my gosh.
because the dealer had added PPF and undercoating without, like, just from, they just added it to the truck. So
That's insane.
$61,200 to get a max tow Silverado 1500 LT. So that's right, because I think, I chose that because I think that is kind of the.
I mean, that I'll be honest, being in Detroit, right? That's probably it. I would say 5 or 6 of the 10 trucks I see on the road every time I get down the car.
Yeah, if there is a new Silverado, that's kind of the minimum you expect to see.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a lower-ish income area, in which case you might see a custom.
Right.
Like I think that, right, for the money that you're spending, $60-something thousand, like $50 to $60-something thousand, I think it is bare minimum to expect leather freaking seats.
Yeah.
And it was the leather seats that drove the cost because I had to up trim so much.
So, do you have the number for if you had all of that, but without leather seats?
I didn't look. I think you can go down to a custom, which would put it around what you first said.
Okay. But to think that you would need to spend an additional $10,000 just to get leather seats.
Yeah, and it's because it comes with a bunch of other stuff, right? Like, because then, like, once you go to leather, okay, now it's leather. I think it was leather heated cooled with,
Yeah, probably communication tech package, stuff like that, the blind spot monitoring, all the other stuff that you probably don't even care about.
Mm-hmm. What was crazy is I found a second Silverado, and it was only one of 2 Silverado LTs in my area. Actually, sorry, no, this one wasn't an LT. I don't think it was a different trim, right? But it was the second closest to my build. No leather, no max tow, no steps. $60,725. It was featured. It was optioned up with a bunch of other stuff.
You said that was 67.
60,725. So 60. Yeah. So it was.
Okay. So
$500 less than the LT max tow and steps. And this is the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because that's the reality of buying a truck with what is on dealer lots. Yes, I could go get a cheaper car, like a cheaper truck, and option it, right? This truck options out $61,135. I couldn't find one that had all the features and missing legitimately important features for the same damn price.
And you could arguably probably go buy 2 Slates with a decent amount of accessories for that same money.
Yeah, because I would assume, the 3 things people complain about the Slate: the range, the lack of second row seats, and the payload tow.
Right.
Okay, can't do anything about the payload tow, right? But the Slate is supposed to come with modifiable second row seat and cap, right? So this can be a four person, 5-person vehicle if you pay for the parts. Right. And I assume that'll be about $6,000, $7,000,
probably a
right, to do that.
Fair assumption, yeah. I would assume a cap's probably gonna be $2,500, $2,300. Seats are probably gonna be another $2,000, $1,800 maybe.
Yeah, and then I figure conservatively that the range extension, right, because they have a bigger battery pack, takes you from 150 to 240 miles, which is a substantial increase. 240 miles is actually pretty useful.
I mean, that's like base model Mach-E territory, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think it's like Mach-E. I think Blazer EV is closer to like 300. The Bolts were 250, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, like that puts you in a pretty decent range, to be honest.
I think a conservative estimate is to say that's going to be $5,000.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Like,
I know because I was looking at one. To add like the max battery package to an R1T, that's like a $15,000 option.
Yeah, and that's a much, much bigger battery.
Yeah,
because they're not increasing
exactly. So I would be willing to bet that increasing the capacity of that Slate 50%, you're probably getting hit for at least $3,000-4,000.
Yeah, which I think is a fair ask because now you've taken it from 27 to 31.
Yeah.
31,000 with 240 miles of range. Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah. So now we're gonna drive the point home further because you have a vehicle prepared.
I do.
I want to know what you got.
So for just a few bucks more,
Mm-hmm.
you could get into some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think a fully trimmed Dark Horse Premium? So pretty much everything's coming standard.
Okay.
What do you think the MSRP comes in on that?
All right. Because my Mustang pricing knowledge is outdated by one generation because I haven't priced a Mustang since S550.
Perfect.
So my memory is right that a GT350 used to be in the base, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 60s ish. Yeah. I would assume that a current GT / Dark Horse is going to be starting around that price.
Well, okay. So I guess if you want, before we do, I could tell you the cost of a regular base GT.
What's a base GT cost?
So a base GT starts at $43,090.
Okay. That seems cheaper than I was expecting. That hasn't gone up much since S550.
No, actually, a base GT, arguably, still a fair deal. Outside of the fact that you can't tune it and build it right now, but
right, but that's not what most Mustang buyers are doing. So I'm gonna go 73.
Okay, so actually you are over.
Oh, okay.
So a Dark Horse Premium MSRP,
Mm-hmm.
65,370.
Wow. Okay. So hold on. Let's digest this for a second. I could get one of the better muscle cars, track cars, right, on the road that can still be a GT for the same price it would cost me to get a leather seated truck with tow.
So in fact, actually, if you didn't get a premium Dark Horse, right? Let's say you just get a Dark Horse. You don't
I figured that the Dark Horse would
thrills.
just be like one version. I didn't even realize they were doing premiums and bases of Dark Horse.
Yeah, but if you just get a standard Dark Horse without like performance pack, all the other stuff there, you're actually looking at 60,865, which is about $150 more than the truck that you listed.
I'm actually surprised that it's only $5,000 between the premium and the base.
Yes.
I would have expected. So what comes on a premium? Like, did you check? Like, what kind of features does this come with? I imagine heated, cooled seats, big screen.
So yes, you do get the I think you get the better screen, the better sound. You get the Bang & Olufsen sound package, which is it's
actually
it's nice,
quite nice.
Yeah, it's not bad for what it is. It's pretty. I don't think you get you still get the TR3060. You get the better transmission over the base GT.
And that's what's transmission's the base GT running?
That is the MT82 still.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I have a buddy who owned a Mustang GT for a really long time, and he swears he'll never buy another Mustang again because of that transmission, because it kept bending forks.
So, I mean, there are things he could do to fix that, or he could have done to fix that. The MT82 isn't terrible, but personally, I am a big 3060 fan. It's a fantastic trans. That is actually what came in the last gen Mach 1. It's what came in the GT350 and the prior generation S197 GT500s. So
you've just reminded me how much I've always wanted to buy an S197 Laguna Seca.
Those are fantastic.
So expensive from the last thing I looked at, but they're so freaking cool.
They are super.
That's
cool.
my favorite S197. It's absolutely my favorite.
I think if I was going to buy an S197, I would have to get a 1314 Shelby GT500.
The with the Trinity or whatever motor.
The 5.8, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that, having worked on them, having experience in them, that's just such a good car. It's
They're cool. I think that might just be me being a bit of a hipster contrarian, like wanting the Laguna Seca instead of
that's
the.
fair. That's fair.
But God, yeah, 65. That's actually a good deal. I kind of want a Mustang GT now.
I think it is interesting though that like, given kind of like the like seeing that truck, right, that the Silverado,
Yeah,
LT, how you as you had it trimmed, is like
yeah,
seeing that is $61,000 in comparison to you being able to go buy a dark horse for the same money
yeah,
is kind of crazy, because
yeah,
and granted I'm probably a lot more performance brained than most people,
yeah.
but you know, why would I, unless I need a truck, and like at $61,000, I feel like I'm gonna have to really need a truck.
Yep.
Why would I want that over going and buying a dark horse?
No. Honestly, you hit, like, you saying that really, I think was resonated, because unless I really need one at that price, like, you're kind of hitting, I think now, what I'm feeling, which is that some of these vehicles are just getting to be so expensive that it's like, do I even, like, I don't want to just buy for the potential that I want the extra capacity. I'm just going to have to start buying because it's literally what we like. You start having to ask yourself, like, do I really need this? And that's like, you're right. That's kind of where truck pricing has gotten.
Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of at a point where like, you know, it's not like a lot of, especially for instance, like I could tell you right now, most of the people I work with do not need a truck. I
No.
can also tell you probably 70 to 80% of the people I work with drive trucks. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's kind of,
I've never got it.
it's,
I've never understood it.
I mean,
they're cool. I like trucks.
previously,
I just don't understand spending the money they spend on a
no,
truck.
for sure. And so I will say, like, previously, I was very against trucks. I've kind of come around on that. You know, I'm sure,
Yeah.
as you see, because I probably tweet about trucks at
Yeah.
least 30 times a week at this
Yes.
point.
Yes.
But it is interesting to me because I've always looked at trucks as like an actual utility. And to me, if you're not
Yeah.
going to use a truck for its utility, there is no point in having one, really.
Yeah, I have said this because I said it to my parents, right? Because my dad has an F-150. He's getting a new F-150. There's a whole story behind that I might talk about on here after they've resolved it with the dealership. But I have said to them before, because they have a cap on their F-150, on the bed of the F-150, and it never gets taken
Buy an
off. And I'm just like,
buy an
I'm like,
Expedition.
yeah, that's what I said. I was like, why didn't you buy, like, just go buy an Expedition? Well, because we want to have the bed and I get that, right? And that's kind of getting to my next point in the game of guess the MSRP is people care about the bed. They do. They care about having the bed, even when they even when they use that space almost more as if it was cargo space, like interior cargo space,
Yep.
right? And so I wanted to compare MSRP to my next vehicle, which I think is trying to be fair to Slate.
Okay.
Hyundai Tucson SE. Basic features, right? It's, CarPlay, total, like, just CarPlay, and then basically nothing else. Cloth seats, front wheel drive, automatic transmission, base engine, right? So just cheapest. What do you think that would cost?
I'm going to say 34.6.
So you're high.
I am high. Okay.
You are high. A base an SE, which has got CarPlay, it's front wheel drive, got the base engine, which the base engine on a Hyundai Tucson's garbage, right?
Yeah.
It's typical. It is 28.7
Okay.
with a $1,400 destination. So, yeah, you can get into a decent little crossover, right? For about 30 grand, 31 grand. That's not bad. If we took the Slate and we added like the radio probably and some stuff, you'd probably be about the same price. So it's competitive, except this way you also get a truck bed instead of an interior. That seems reasonable to me. However, what if you add all-wheel drive navigation heated cloth seats? What do you think that goes up to?
At that point, I'm going to say you're definitely got to be close to touching 35.
You're at 36.
Okay.
Yep. So this was my point I kind of made earlier about how it's like $5,000 to get these extra basic features. And so it's a hell of a big different situation financing a $31,000 car and a $37,000 car.
Right.
Right. Because your tax is still 6%, right? 6% of 31 and 6% of 36, it grows.
Yeah.
It's much, much larger absolute value dollar number. So that's going to be a lot more expensive on your monthly. It's a little harder to do that, even though we like to finance everything. It's a little harder to justify that.
Most definitely.
And if you get that base one, you're never going to get that all-wheel drive. You're never going to get that to CarPlay. Like, you're never going to get all those other features. Right. Slate's model might allow that in the future. You hang on to it.
That's true.
And then I had one additional one, right, that I kind of wanted to split the difference with.
Okay.
Escape, vinyl seating, cold weather package, front wheel drive, hybrid. And I chose the hybrid because I wanted to go with the more eco-friendly option, right? Like let's go with the more high, MPG option, because you can't get an electric Escape, right?
Yep.
And comparing that to the Mach-E, by the way, a Mach-E is like $40-something thousand, which is the same size as an Escape, guys. So EV is a big, expensive part of the equation.
Yes, 100%.
But if we're going to consider that, right, Escape hybrid with vinyl seating, cold weather package, front wheel drive, what do you think that costs?
You said leather seating, though, right?
Vinyl.
Oh, vinyl seating, okay.
Yeah, not even leather.
So probably 31.4.
36. Yes. Because I wanted to remind people that Hyundais are cheap and Fords aren't.
So you said that was 36, right?
That's 36. So, a lot of that extra cost came from two things. One, it's ST line, not a base.
Okay.
So, right, they locked some of the stuff like cold weather package availability and things like that. And the
that.
hybrid engine. The hybrid engine was the big driver behind the next trim up, which, by the way, ST line is the second level trim on an Escape now.
That's kind of interesting, actually. I wasn't really aware that that's kind of how they were using that.
Yep. On the Escape, at least, that's how they're using it. So
interesting.
Shit.
So
yeah. So
I have a curveball for you here, actually, because
okay.
I know when we discussed talking about this, I actually mentioned I had 2 vehicles, but I had a very interesting conversation at work today. And so that prompted me actually to add a 3rd vehicle. And so while I was actually in the shower prepping before this, I literally got all of the costs on a few different models for this other vehicle. And it's going to be kind of an interesting switch hitter, I feel, for you. Because when was the last time somebody actually mentioned a Mitsubishi Outlander to you?
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Probably the last person that mentioned Mitsubishi is, I don't even remember his name on Twitter because he's all about him. Oh, man. Outlander. Okay. So like base model?
So I'll actually give you a specific trim here because this is where I kind of feel like you're actually probably getting a pretty decent deal. I mean, the base model is actually pretty decent, but looking at some of the competitors,
they're super cheap from what I remember.
So, you're kind of basing around the same price. But when I looked at some of the features that are available in here, so you're talking like the diamond stitch leather seats and like CarPlay,
I didn't know
Yamaha
you could get leather
sound
seats
system.
in a Mitsubishi.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? But so for an Outlander, SEL Touring, it's got the 2.5 liter inline 4. It's all-wheel drive with CVT and all their luxury features. So, like I said, the Yamaha sound package, pretty much all the fancy bits, probably anything you could imagine that you're going to get in most of the other standard, things in the same bracket, right?
Yeah.
What do you what do you think MSRP is on that?
$32.
Okay, so it is more expensive than that.
Okay. I was like, it's got to be super cheap. I don't know.
So
I guess I should think like a top trim like Escape or something is like $43,000.
okay, and this is where I think this becomes a much better deal because it's
Yeah.
nowhere near that Escape. In fact,
No, I
actually,
imagine
the
not.
Escape that you mentioned is kind of where it sits. So
Really, 36.
this is 37,695,
okay.
and 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty with that.
Oh, and that matters.
It does. It does matter. 100% it matters. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I think we all are quite aware of Mitsubishi's woes.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet a sales dude at Mitsubishi is a lot more willing to negotiate and make a deal with you than the guy at Ford. And also, might I mention, when I was browsing the site to get these prices, they're offering 1.99% for 60 months if you qualify.
Man.
So I'm not gonna lie, if
Isn't
you're in the market,
sorta... Yeah.
that's
if you
kind
just
of
need
not
something,
an awful deal.
isn't it
And
sort
that
of
seats
crazy?
7, by the way.
Oh, really? That's got 3
Yes.
rows. Oh.
So
Because I thought Outlanders are like Escape sized,
they're a
aren't
little
they? Or are
bigger
they a
than
little
Escape.
bigger?
They're like more kind of like in
Okay.
between. I think they're in between an Escape and Explorer. It's been a minute. I would probably say
Okay.
they're probably more classed with an Explorer, but
Are they more like Edge?
yeah, that's probably
Maybe.
a better
Okay. Like Edge Blazer?
Yeah, I think that's probably a better
Yeah.
sizing
Yeah.
competitive
Okay.
wise for them.
Huh. That is impressive. I still don't want one.
No, so
but
listen,
that's impressive.
and that's kind of where I was because I was like, but when I was talking about it with the guys at work,
Yeah.
because one of the guys at work had got a pretty good deal on a
Yeah.
used truck, but he said he was crossing
Yeah.
up with things, and he had owned a Mitsubishi Mirage, and he had actually said that, but when he was looking for the truck, or when he was looking to buy something new, to
Yeah.
just replace his daily, he had mentioned that he was peeking around, and he was told by his aunt, I believe it was, to check out the sales guy that they had got the Mirage from, and they started looking into the Outlander a little bit. And so when you mentioned that, I was like, wow, I haven't thought about an Outlander like at all. So I just Googled it real
Yeah.
quick while we were talking about it, and saw the pricing on these, and then saw that, like, actually, I'm not gonna lie, these newer ones, like, interior wise, they look pretty decent. I thought they actually
I've
looked
heard
pretty,
that.
I thought they actually looked pretty good. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at it,
Yeah.
now I'm obviously I don't need one of these, but
No.
I think for some kind of like small video I might do for my own channel, I might go
Yeah.
and actually take a look at one of these and maybe just go test
Mhm.
drive one just to see, because I'm
Right.
actually kind of really interested in like the value proposition of this, because I think
Yes.
this thing actually could probably be pretty decent for 37 grand. And I think you could honestly probably negotiate a deal on something like this probably relatively easy.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of get a lot for 37 grand, because I'd be willing to bet if you did price out an Explorer with even half of those features, you're over 50 grand. I'd be willing to bet.
Oh, easily. It's two things. One, how did Nissan get its reputation that it got when Mitsubishi is obviously what Nissan is accused of being?
Yes.
Like Nissan, like, right, because they're like the Altimas and the Sentras and stuff. Like, there's low rent, budget rental cars, right? Mitsubishi is actually just a company that makes low rent budget like rental cars now. Like, that's all they do. Nissan at least had like the Z, and until recently the R35. I think it was still called the R35 internally.
Is that out of production officially now?
I think it's officially out of production.
Okay.
Yes. Right, but like they had those things.
Yeah.
So they had some stuff. They still had the truck.
Even the
Mitsubishi literally just makes like 3 cars, 2 cars, and they're all just like low rent. Hey, you want to buy a new car, but you don't have any money. You don't have enough money to buy one that's good. So here you go. Like that's what they're doing. Like that's what people accuse Nissan of being.
yeah, 100%. If I can tangent for 2 seconds here.
Yes, absolutely.
I do think, and this is Mitsubishi, feel free to use this game. I'm going to give you game right now. I'm going to try and put you on so that way you could get at least 0.5% of market share back.
Yeah.
I have a marketing degree, by the way. Y'all can send me a job at any time.
Do you really?
I do. That is actually what my degree
shit.
is a marketing
I didn't know that.
So,
I didn't know that.
Mitsubishi, in Australia, You have a mid-size pickup that comes with like a 2-liter turbo diesel, and it's actually sick as hell. Granted,
Isn't that, hold on, isn't that based on someone else's truck though? Isn't that like a licensed truck?
I don't know. I would need to look more into it. But
Yeah.
all I know is I was watching a video of some of these guys doing some overlanding stuff because I was recently very interested after learning the proposition for the Australian market of a Ranger Super Duty.
Yeah.
That there's this Mitsubishi truck over there, and it's freaking cool.
The Triton?
Yes.
Okay.
It actually is kind of sick. I think it actually looks kind of good. And I'm telling you, I think if that thing was here, I think you could get some sales because this is America. We like trucks. And I think if you, especially, I think if you could bring that little turbo diesel mid-size pickup to the States, I think that would sell, especially if they could provide that at the value that they do. Now, granted, I know they're probably being screwed on chicken tax and such here.
Oh, I'm sure,
but
yeah.
I do think that if they brought something like that here, or found a way, or got a way to build those here so they could sell something even on a similar platform, that would be probably sick and probably start moving some market share their direction.
I need to remember to add pictures of this when I edit and post because I'm looking at it right now, the 6th gen. And you know what, you're right. I don't think it's a borrowed truck, right? Because that's the thing people don't realize, like the Isuzu trucks and stuff like that, the Mazda trucks, and that's Ford, GM, Nissan, right? Like that's who they're pulling from.
Yeah.
Toyota too. They just license out a truck from somebody else basically.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And badge engineer it. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
But that is Mitsubishi's free game. That is your random truck fact of the day. That was a segment I never intended on making, but
that's fine. This is the truck episode, apparently.
Yeah, we're big truck guys over here. Yeah,
you are at least.
Yeah, add it up like a cowboy hat or something for me.
I'm a small truck guy. I like small trucks.
I also actually am big. I like big trucks. I like small trucks, but I kind of like a little bit of everything when it comes to trucks. But I thought the Triton was super sick, and honestly, I feel like if they had something like that here, it might actually do kind of well.
It might, yeah. I mean, I really like the Nissan small truck.
The Frontier.
I can't remember the name of it right now. The Frontier. Yeah. I've looked at them before. The only thing is, right, because of the chicken tax, they're not really much cheaper.
No, they're kind of pricey.
I was really thinking
are cheaper.
It would be...
Now, if you were like cross shopping right now for like, say, a Ranger or a Tacoma, they are actually, you can get like a Pro 4X. I want to say MSRP on like a Pro 4X and like a good trim is like $45,000 in comparison to Toyota thinking that a TRD off-road Tacoma is like worth almost $60,000, which is insane.
The new Toyota, like the Land Cruisers, the brought over, right, the Lexus. I don't understand why people would buy the Toyota when they have the Lexus one. Because even though the Lexus one looks so similar and the interiors are similar, the materials are better, right? The I don't understand. I don't understand the pricing of the Tacoma. They're so expensive. They are so expensive. I know the chicken tax stuff, right? But
so actually, Tacomas aren't even being hit with chicken tax. Those are made in Texas.
Oh, that's right.
So they literally,
then what the hell?
They must be stuffing gold bars behind the dash.
They must
because I think there's got to be something, especially in that Trail Hunter model, guys. That is like a $67,000 truck. It's a mid-size pickup. For $10,000 more, you could get a base Raptor. For $10,000 less, you could get a Ranger Raptor. I'm not buying a Trail Hunter ever when those are my options.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Raptor, both F-150 for $10,000 more, or the Ranger Raptor for $10,000 less. Those are both better trucks.
So I just because I thought this would be interesting, right? Because we were talking mid-sized trucks. What number would that Mitsubishi, like what dollar value would that Mitsubishi truck have to be for you to be like, I'm going to go buy that right now? Because, by the way, for people who don't know, you own a Tacoma.
I do own a third-gen Tacoma.
Own a third-gen Tacoma.
I am a mid-sized truck enjoyer through and through. I make the payment to do so.
Yeah.
So if they brought that Triton over, and I
Yeah.
want to say, if they brought it over as we see it right now, right? So it's the
Yeah.
I think 2-liter turbo diesel.
Yeah, it'd have to have the
Yeah,
turbo
so like,
diesel.
if it's a turbo diesel and it's got all that going on with it,
Yeah.
if that came in at probably if an upper trim one or something comparable trim wise to like my TRD off road,
Okay.
was, I mean, being a turbo diesel, I would say if it came in sub 50,
Yeah.
I think I would be genuinely interested in it. I think if it came in somewhere between 40 and 45, it would probably 100% be a buy.
Like an automatic buy.
Yeah.
So what I was curious about is I priced a Ranger real quick here, because it made me think about it. Like, what could we compare
Yep.
to? So a Ranger XLT, so cloth seating, with the 2.7. Because the 2.7 is available in the Ranger now for people that didn't know. I did not know that. I thought it was still
It
just
is.
2.3.
And
The
actually,
2.7 is available.
I will attest, by the way, the 2.7 in the Ranger platform, very good. That makes that truck.
That sounds like a great motor.
That is
for that.
It's phenomenal. That
I mean,
it makes
300
really,
low 300s horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque. I think is around what those make.
something or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But it makes that truck feel really good. I would not hesitate to use that truck for really any. Honestly, I mean that is straight up like that's you could tow a decent amount with that.
So
you
it's
could beat the hell out of that truck
with max tow. 7,500 pounds, 1,500 pound payload.
Yep.
Like that's a competent vehicle, right?
For sure.
So 2.7 XLT 4x4 with high equipment group.
Okay.
So that's going to be heated seats, power adjust.
Yeah, like 304A, whatever.
Power sliding rear window, the 12-inch display center stack thing. I don't really care about that. And then dual zone climate control, which I love, right? I mean, for God's sakes, my Fiesta ST back in 2019 had dual zone climate control.
I actually have gripes with dual zone climate control, but we'll do this first and then I'll rant about dual zone.
Okay. And that's that also, right, that's advanced tow to get max tow, right? Yep. All that 47.2 without destination. Yep. So, or no, with destination, 47.2 with destination.
Yeah, and that's not a bad, and especially like we were talking about, why am I paying 50 plus for a TRD off-road Tacoma?
Yes.
Like that's a better deal. And I can tell you right now, just because I actually the reason why I even ended up with this Tacoma is because I was actually mere hours away from putting money down on a Ranger Raptor, because I don't know if you know, you probably do. I am a huge Ranger Raptor fan. The Ranger Raptor is probably one of my favorite trucks. The Ranger Raptor MSRP is like 55 and some change. Yeah,
it's not as high as you'd think.
No, and I can tell you right now, when at first I thought that was a lot, 55. After driving one,
it's a lot of truck.
That is a great amount of truck, and that truck is very fun and very capable for $55,000.
Yeah.
And I was this close. If I didn't find absolute peak spec third gen Tacoma for $20,000 less.
Yeah, your Tacoma is like a perfect is a perfect spec.
Yeah, like and leading into perfect spec on that, because we were talking about the dual zone. My truck does not have dual zone climate control because I don't have any of the extra fancy options.
Yeah.
My truck is the base truck. I would be the Slate buyer here because this is the only option my truck has is the side steps, which I actually hate Toyota's factory side steps. They're abysmal. But aside from that, the only thing I have really as an option is the fact that it is manual. There's no premium sound. There's no dual zone climate control. There's no
manual truck is hard to find.
Yes, the manual. So Cavalry Blue with the 6-speed. Yeah, absolute peak. But the reason why I don't like dual zone climate control is if you drive for anything longer than probably 30, 40 minutes, it doesn't matter if you set that side to ice cold and your side to, the scorching sun, it's going to balance out.
Here's why I disagree with you. I'm married.
Okay. That
Hold on.
makes a lot of sense.
And I get hot very easily. My wife gets cold very easily.
Yep.
I want those fans blowing on me. She does not. And at least with the Q7, with the dual zone, it does not, right? It has the separate fan controller.
Yep.
So hers doesn't blow, mine does. Now, my old Fiesta ST, no, they did not stick two in there. They did if you're right. In that case, evens out.
Yeah.
But in cars that have separate fan controllers, peak. Right, or at least I'm assuming it has like separate fan controllers of some type. I'm not sure. I've never really looked that much into it, but
I could see the benefit of not having to start an argument.
Yes,
be worth it.
Yes,
that I will concede on that front. However, in almost any other application,
every other situation, it's pretty much it's pretty much worthless.
If I go on a road trip by myself, there is 0 point to have dual zone climate control.
No.
It benefits nobody. No. I'm doing nothing. So
it wouldn't benefit in a Slate.
No,
it's
definitely not going to benefit you in a Slate at all.
No. No, my Q7 actually has 3 zones because I also have the rear.
So you can actually control speed and temperature for both driver, passenger, and the rear.
I can control temperature for everybody, and vis-a-vis temperature, it will affect speed.
Okay.
So if I drop my temp on my side but not on hers, I will get a faster speed. Like, I will get more airflow on my side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I wasn't aware that was as...
I don't know how they're doing it, right? I just know that, like, if I turn mine down, she doesn't turn hers down. I'm getting lots of cool air. She's not.
I wonder if they're just doing some tricks with like the blend door actuators or something.
They might be doing it with the blend door actuators or something. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but it is so good. It is so good.
That is interesting. That does make me reconsider my stance on dual zone just slightly. But I'm not married,
I'm
so
sure
it's not
there's
going to
plenty of
change.
cars. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of cars where they don't actually do it and implement it nicely, and it doesn't matter. But I'm talking about an Audi.
Right.
You know, so, and it's because mine is a 2018 Q7 with a 3-liter supercharged motor, Prestige. So top trim. The only feature I don't have is the massaging seats. It's the only feature I don't have in my Q7. So, like, yeah, it's, you know, terrifying to consider what happens if something breaks.
Yeah, I would say you are one health report on a scan tool away from figuring out you have like 15 non-communicating modules. But
yes, thank goodness it has been good so far. It's the thing I've learned with Audis is if it makes it the first 30 to 40,000 miles without a major electronics failure, it will probably make it the majority of its life.
That's probably fair.
Because the Audi electronics, it seems, it's not, from what I've kind of understood and learned, is it doesn't seem to be an age thing as so much as it is just not manufactured well versus manufactured well. And if it's not manufactured well and there's something wrong. Yeah, basically. So.
Well, I do think we have one last vehicle left.
We have one last vehicle before we got to call it.
And
yes.
I would like you to tell me how much you think a BRZTS with performance pack runs without destination.
Okay, so BRZs are base, like what, 27, 28 now?
So a base BRZ is actually $30,195.
$30,195. That's right, because isn't the GR like
30 exactly?
Just under 30.
I think it is 30 exactly as of 2025.
30 exactly. Okay, yeah. Okay. And TS is going to be a fair bit more expensive.
TS is the track focused. You got the Brembo brakes, the Sachs dampers, stuff like that.
Yep. And then what else was going on with it? It was the TS with
That's just a TS. That's
Just a
yep.
TS. Okay. Okay. I want to go 38.
You are actually almost right on the money. That is 37,895.
Wow. Okay. Honestly, that is a lot of car for 38.
Yeah, no, that
Um,
is a pretty decent value, especially when you consider like, well, I will say, I guess at 5 grand more, 6 grand more does get you in a base GT. Now that TS does have a lot more features than that base GT has,
it has a lot of
but if you
features.
were looking to
Also,
like as a platform, you could do a lot with a base GT over time.
as a platform to modify, I think the base GT probably has more upward potential for the price with less money into
Yep.
it. Because you're starting with, because, right, let's be honest. You and I both know this. Modifying the engine for power
Oh yeah.
is a lot more expensive than modifying the suspension for handling.
Right.
So, buying a BRZ and then having to dump a bunch of money into the motor is going to be significantly more expensive than buying a Mustang GT and having to put money into
And
the
I could tell
suspension.
you if you wanted that BRZ to make the exact same power as that Mustang, you're gonna probably need to spend 10 to 12 grand on top of that. So you're probably gonna be 50
Yeah.
grand plus into that car easily to make the same 430 wheel, 400
Yeah.
or 430 that you would make in that Mustang just right off
So
rip.
so 38 plus 12 grand, right? So we're at 50.
Yep.
So for 5, okay, so we're not within spitting distance of a dark horse yet.
No, you are still about
Okay.
10 grand away from touching the
From a
dark
dark
horse.
horse.
But
Okay.
at the same time, if you were to just spend the 50 grand on the Mustang, you could get a full performance pack GT. You could get quite a lot. That's active exhaust. That's going to get you quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like you're doing pretty good. That's quite a bit of car. And I will say the S650, despite its size, really handles like it's something a lot smaller than it is.
That's good because the S550 didn't. Okay. Well, so I think hopefully this kind of drives home the point that $27,000 for a 150-mile range truck, even without a lot of features, is not, let's say it's not the greatest deal in the world,
No.
but it is a competitive vehicle.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the base features you're getting on the other vehicles, right? Like the Hyundai or the Escape that I mentioned.
Yeah.
They're not that significant. Okay,
Or
power
that base
windows,
Outlander,
fine. That's
you're
not
at
going to be
that
that
same
expensive.
number. You're
Yeah.
at about 30.
Yeah.
That a BRZ, you're at about 30. So
Yeah.
really,
You're not getting
to
into
get a
anything
new
under
car,
30.
yeah, you're touching 30
EcoBoost
grand.
Fastback, 31,920.
Yep. Even a Corolla is going to cost you $28,000 at this point.
Yeah.
So
You are not getting into anything that has any sense of utility at all because a Slate does have utility.
Right.
You're not getting anything into any sense of utility without spending 30 grand.
at minimum, and let's be real,
minimum.
if the bed is the something you need, your options are cut real short at 30 grand.
The only competition is going to be the Maverick if you can find one that is a base
Yep.
model.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck spending probably at least another 15 to get up into something like a Frontier or a Tacoma in decent spec.
Oh, yeah.
Anything like that. You're going to be spending probably closer to 40 grand. Which, let's be real, at 40 grand, now you're talking about a realistic. If you put almost nothing down at 5 years, you're talking about an $800 a month payment minimum.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Something else that was getting under my skin, by the way, about the way people have been approaching Slate is trying to compare it to a used Lightning, price-wise. And I'm sorry, guys, but you cannot compare a new car to a used car. It is not the same thing. There is a reason for that. Because a used Slate in a few years is going to go for 20.
If that. Because we could be looking, to be fair, we don't know and EVs historically are falling pretty hard in the used market.
A base Lightning starts at like 64.
Yep.
And they're going for 35 now.
Yeah. So, imagine if we apply that kind of same realistically, in just a
Yeah.
few years, you could be looking at a $10,000 slate or a twelve thousand
Yep.
dollar slate. And I think realistically, that is where you would see that 3-4 years from now. You're going to see a slate at 10K,
Yes.
easily. And so, like, I think that would,
As they get up to what, like 60, 70,000 miles,
yeah,
probably.
probably. So you figure a 60,000 mile slate for 10 grand. That
Yeah.
is where I think you're really going to start seeing the added benefit of like that being the DLC truck, because
Yes.
the third owner, where that guy's like, dude, I was able to snag this for 8 grand, and now I just got something to run stuff around on the property, and it's cool, it's neat, it's electric, it doesn't, I don't have to do
Yeah.
nothing, I just plug it in the barn and leave it.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna see. I think those are gonna be
Yes.
the buyers for that truck. I think the
Agreed.
first buyers are kind of gonna be a little bit more people city slicking, the people who want, like I said in the previous one, the people trying to do their home renos, the people trying to do landscaping, little things like that, that
The
just
buyer-
need something to have utility.
The buyer for a Slate is going to be middle to upper middle class families that need a second car to drive to work, like my demographic.
Yeah, 100%.
If if a Slate had been out when I bought the Mini, I would have bought the Slate because I could have used the extra utility, and I would have chosen that over fun. But I chose fun specifically because I don't have any other choices in a somewhat comparable price range that would have worked.
Right. Well, and I'll even add in too, people even in like just an actual lower income bracket, right? So like my friend with a Maverick doesn't make a ton of money,
That's true.
The reason why he chose a Maverick over buying something like a Corolla or an Escape or something of those things, because he could have easily just bought any normal car, right?
Right. But he got something that had utility.
But he knew he was going to be inheriting a house, so having the ability to do something like get a water heater or a furnace, or be able to grab brick, if you need to redo the landscaping or bags of mulch and stuff like that, and not have to worry of getting 20 bags of mulch in your interior.
No. Which for me, I just I have to ask for help, like from my parents who have a truck, because they'll help me. But otherwise, I would have been doing the same stuff and loading it into the back of a Q7.
Yeah, exactly. And so like for him, realistically, in a few years where he's probably going to be just on his own in that house and needed to be able to do stuff, it's just an easier thing, and like it does everything a car does, but it also can do light truck stuff. And
yes,
I mean, I've borrowed it plenty. I actually moved an entire, and I'll send you the picture actually, so you can put it in here.
Yeah.
But I actually had bought a second motor for my F350, a 7.3 diesel.
Yeah.
Power stroke.
And fit that in the back of the Maverick?
I picked it up. We had where the guy bought it off of, put it in the back of the Maverick with a forklift, and we drove like 2 hours with 1,000 pounds worth of motor in the bed of it, and it didn't even sweat at all.
Okay.
I mean, like.
So there you go. There's our sort of resounding ending, right? Is a Maverick, which has a similar payload to a Slate, doesn't really come with that many more base features, right? Yeah. Is going to be competitive in price, and the Slate's got more. Has got more modability, more downstream ability to do stuff to it, and is just as useful and truly useful, because it's useful enough to move a 7.3 Triton.
Yeah, a 7.3 power stroke, and mind you, like that fully dressed, which it was.
That's a big ass motor.
Oh, it's a huge motor. The weight on that motor alone is over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're gonna you're gonna be able to do quite a lot with that. I think the conclusion really here is, I don't think you should sleep on Slate. I think you guys should give it a chance, because I think it's going to be something that is actually going to be a valuable prospect for a lot of people.
Agreed. And I think if you want to crap on the features that Slate has, go look at the base features on a Maverick. I tell you this right now. Go look at a base Maverick. Go look at the base features on a Maverick and consider how cheap it would be.
Yeah, go build and price a Maverick. You just go to
Yeah.
Ford's website, build and price a Maverick, and just look at that and see if that's something that's like actually, because you'll find that is actually, in order to get a lot of the creature comforts that you would really want, you're gonna spend more than you think. And I think
Yeah.
I
Now,
think
I
we've
will
kind
say
of
this.
hit that well today, talking about the MSRP of a lot of these vehicles.
Agreed.
Where
Agreed.
some of these come in a lot higher than you'd expect. Some of them are a little bit lower than you'd expect, but
Yeah. But most vehicles are more expensive than you would expect. I will make one final point, one final mention. I was wrong. Base Mavericks do come with cruise control now.
Okay.
So there you go.
We have corrected that before the podcast end.
Yes. So anyway, that has been our episode. I am Mike at MikeGropX on Twitter. You are...
I am Brendan or Whoop. You can find me at Whooper2Real.
And this has been another delightful episode of Zero Camber where we prove that we are smarter than you. Peace.